Hello there, welcome to Play for the Dragon podcast, Wales sports music, not always in that order. Play for the Dragon episode 25, I think we're on now. So had a couple of weeks off, but how are you both doing? You keeping all right, lads?
Very well, mate, very well.
All good, thanks, Martin. How are you?
Good. Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Had a few storms, didn't we, the week or two ago, Lewis?
Yes, we did.
And I don't know how bad it was for you down south, but we had a few fence panels knocked over. That wasn't too bad.
My girlfriend's parents has had fence panels off. There's a house next to us, about 2 fence panels off. So, yeah, lovely weather.
How are you doing, Sam? Weather
I'm
any better over in Spain?
Yeah, much better, to be honest. Than that, I mean, there's nothing flying around in the sky here or anything. You know what I mean? So, all good.
There's birds flying around there, Sam. Oh, they fly around.
Well, there's some seagulls knocking around there.
The beauty of
so there is things
town.
flying around, mate.
I think we always start the podcast off with a bit of weather chat, don't we? I don't know why I always go in that direction. It's a very sort of anglicised trait we have.
This is what we're going to... We might as well just put weather at the end of our slogan.
Do a little update. Well, we've got the little tickers that can go across the bottom of the screen if we ever upload any more of the videos to YouTube.
Wales
so we could just put
weather.
like the 3 cities or the 3 towns we're in, just put the Wales sport weather and never.
Sorry, music,
rarely
we're
use
going
it.
off for the weather.
I know you'd be happy about that. I do have to say, it wasn't on Valentine's Day, it was the Saturday after. I don't know if I told you, but I went to the Penderyn distillery.
Oh, yeah, how was it?
Did know. Really, really, really good. I should have bought a glass of it up with me, actually, and we could have, instead of trying to get Heineken for a sponsor anymore, we could have gone for them, because, they're local, they might support. But yeah, really, really, really cool. If anyone else thinks about going, highly recommend it.
They went there on The Apprentice, didn't they?
Yes, they did. I think it was... Well, it must have been because the task was in North Wales, so they wouldn't have just gone to Brecon for the tasting. Wouldn't have had the time to get down. But, we did. We didn't do the full masterclass tasting. They did. That's like a 3.5-hour piss up on a Saturday afternoon.
That's all right.
Yeah. After that,
quite typically, I don't know if I told you, but when Ella booked it, the only slots they had left for the week she wanted it were 10 a.m. in the morning. So wouldn't say we were half cut because we only tried 2 or 3 types, but a little buzz going at about 11:30.
Yeah, I was going to say 10 a.m.
Very nice.
Like classic whiskey o'clock, that, isn't it, obviously?
Alcoholic.
Yeah, tried a glass of £95 a bottle of whiskey, so can't really complain about that. Yeah. Worth the entry fee. I think bit of sad news to start the podcast off today, unfortunately, though. Been seeing quite a lot on Twitter about former Wales manager John Toshak being quite ill in hospital at the minute. I think it's something to do with COVID, unfortunately. So, we all and everyone else in the Welsh football community wish John Toshak and his family all the best. Hopefully he can make a recovery of some kind. And such a shame to see this disease still affecting so many people around the world, isn't it, really? But to try and turn it into a bit of a lighter theme, I think we do have a John Toshak themed kickoff question today. And I know Sam said it's quite maths heavy, so Lewis did scowl about that before we hit record on the broadcast. So
what's me now this now?
Go on, mate. You can do it. Just think positively.
Man. Well, I mean, John Toshak, obviously a Welsh legend. He's really well known in Spain as well. Like, genuinely, because having coached at Real Madrid and everything like that as well, he's actually really well known here. Like, it's one of those things, like, if you speak to someone who doesn't really know a lot about football, you say, I'm from Wales, they go, oh, Gareth Bale. You speak to someone who actually like really knows their footy, they're like, like John Toshak and that, yeah. And that's how you know someone's sound over here, But I don't know, his time as Wales manager is a bit of a strange one, wasn't it? Because I mean, despite it, being a bit up and down, and him having, quite high profile sort of disagreements with a few of the sort of established players and that, he also gave some of our greatest players ever their debuts and everything. So my quiz question for you is, well, there are 5 players that are still currently in the Wales squad. So they had to be, to count, they have to be still, in the part of the last call-up or the one before it, if it's not something to do with injury or whatever. But 5 people in our still sort of first team / call-up sort of thing Five players were given a debut by John Toshak. Who were they?
Bale, Ramsey, Davis,
Hennessy.
Davis, no.
Gunter.
Okay. Hennessy,
yeah. You got Bale, Ramsey, Hennessy,
Gunter.
Gunter, and one more.
Who's going to be the other one?
Joe Allen.
Joe Allen. Well done, yeah. He was in charge from.
I actually did well.
Yeah,
oh my God! I actually did well on a question.
But he was in charge of the Wales job from.
Oh wait, where's the maths coming in? Hang on, there's maths coming in.
2004 until 2010, he was in. Now those 5 players have all amounted pretty impressive numbers of caps. The question is, what's the combined amount of caps for those 5 players?
Well, Bale's on 100, so or is it 101?
On the dot? Yeah,
100 on the dot. Gunter's on 104, 106.
106, you got it there, yeah.
So we're on 206. Ramsey's not got as many as we'd think. I remember this coming up in other questions.
He's
it's like
50,
60 something, isn't it?
He's gone up since then, but he's the second lowest. There's someone lower than him.
I guess Hennessy's Hennessy's nearly on 100 as well, isn't he?
Hennessy's very close to 100, yeah.
So we've got.
So we'll be Allen at the bottom. So we're going to say
300,
370.
I'm going to say 450.
Oh wait, hang on. I can't do frigging maths, can I? I'm frigging useless. No. Oh God.
Say 300 odd if you want.
Yeah,
let's go 370. I said it.
370, and you're going for what, Martin? 450.
Yeah.
444. Very, very close, Martin. Very impressive. So at the bottom, you've got Joe Allen with 69 caps. After him, you got Aaron Ramsey with 71. After him, you got Hennessy on 98. Bale on 100. And Chris Gunter obviously is the record cap holder for Wales with 106. I don't know about you lads, but I was a bit surprised at how low Allen's caps were. I mean, 69. He's only 2 off Ramsey.
I think around it though.
He's had a few big injuries
before him. And he's had a few knocks, hasn't he?
Well, Allen made his debut in 2009, where Ramsey made it in 2007, I think. So
yeah,
he's got a couple of years
that's
on
what
him.
I mean. Who was in the midfield before Allen came along? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
David Edwards, Leathers. Can't think anybody else.
David Vaughan.
They are. Abigail.
Yeah, so they were playing.
Gary Speed retired by then.
I see. Allen later gets better, but at that time he wasn't what we knew and loved.
Yeah,
really.
Well, tell you what, though, I was surprised that I thought Ben Davies made, like you guys, I thought Ben Davies made his debut under Toshak, but apparently not. You know.
No, who did he make under? Do you know?
Cookie, I guess. No, he was next, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. No, it was Speed after him.
Christ, what was I saying? No, Sparky was before Toshak. Yeah, Toshak took over Sparky, and it was Speedo that took over Toshak, so it would have been under Speedo. Yeah.
I think it gave Davis's debut.
I know we said we were going to talk about this last, but we might as well talk it now while we're on Sparky.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a new job.
He has. Quite a while out of the game as well, hasn't he?
Bradford in League 2.
Yeah,
any idea how Bradford?
It came out of nowhere as well.
It did, didn't it?
Unless you're looking on it, I didn't know he was looking around there or anything. It's a bit of an odd one.
I mean, Bradford are quite a big club, to be honest, aren't they? I mean, I've gone past the stadium there and everything. It's quite a big stadium and that. It's, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. A lot of the Wrexham fans were sort of calling for Sparky to be our next manager, and we were like, "Shut up." You know what I mean? Like as if he's going to go down that far. And he hasn't always gone to League 2. I know, yeah. It could be the next one if it doesn't go well in Bradford for him. I don't know. But I was pretty surprised at that. Good for him, though. I mean, it's good to see him working again, definitely.
I don't know how many games he's had in charge, but I'm just looking at the table now. They're not doing awfully, but they're not doing so well. They're down in 15th. I think they've won one in the last 5.
They were struggling before he got there, though. That's why he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
hopefully he'll be able to steady the ship. I mean, he's experienced enough. He knows what he's doing.
Bradford are one of those like classic championship teams for me. You know what I mean? Like, their time in the Prem and everything as well, didn't they? So
got to a cup final against Swansea as well, didn't they?
Yeah, of course. There's that dead funny video, isn't there, of the manager falling off the car. Have you seen that? the manager. I can't remember the name of the manager at the time, but he's like
Here's a
celebrating
question.
on
Was
top
that the
of a
same
car.
year Hazard kicked that ball boy?
No,
Was that
it
the
was
same
White.
tournament?
No,
No, that was
Bradford.
in the league, I think.
No, I mean with Swansea.
No, this well, I don't know
No,
if
Bradford
I'm
knocked
maybe.
Swansea. Bradford knocked Chelsea out of that competition. I think that was like the big team they knocked out en route. But that was
I
about
can't
the time that happened.
I was going to say, I can't. I'm trying to figure out who was it. The final was Swansea, we said, yeah? No?
The what was Swansea, sorry?
Who was
final
the
is-
final with Bradford?
Yeah, Swansea. They beat him.
Yeah, Swansea. Was that not the year?
It might have been, mate. This
Could have
was
been,
so
could have
long ago. Could have been.
Gotta love a shithouse ball boy, don't you? Like
Is it
have you ever
Ajax
seen that video with
or no?
this?
Is it Ajax that used to have like quite a few? I can't think. I think
I'm not sure.
because they're academy lads, aren't they? They tell him like when it's our attack, get the ball really quickly to him. When it says take your time, doesn't matter if they lose it, take your time.
There's that
But when
dead
it
funny
says,
video.
get my pulse in them now, it's like another player there.
It's like there's that dead funny video as well, isn't it, with the Swansea mascot? You know, in the swan outfit and everything. And he's talking about he had a fight with another mascot. I can't remember which one. And he's like, and what did he say to him? He's like, "Can I swear on here?" yeah, go on. You go, don't fuck with the swans. In literally dressed as a swan, like brilliant.
I don't know if either of you two follow this page on Twitter, but I quite enjoy that mascot minute silence ones. Where
Oh,
it's just,
massively! Yeah,
just stills
so
of the
good.
mascots with all the players standing in the centre circle. Oftentimes, because it's more of a thing for children, they have like a quite jovial expression on their face. It's sort of
but like
extra
with the
on
head
you
sort of bowed.
yeah. Quite sinister looking. I know the West Ham Iron looked like he'd committed a crime or two, and Little East London grin. So I don't know. Do you want to stick talking about football, or do you want to move on to rugby
might as
first
well.
and annoy Lewis? Or yeah,
We might as well on the topic. So let's keep
since
it rolling
we've
smoothly.
just spoken about two Wales managers, so should we talk about the impending playoff we've got coming up at the end of this month, about 3 weeks' time actually. It's either a Wednesday or a Thursday night, so it's nearly 3 weeks to the day.
Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
I've got Thursday in my head.
How recently is that news you told us
final?
all about Ukraine with the playoff?
Oh, it's very recent.
So currently it's come out today. So this is 3rd of March. It's come out today that Ukraine are asking for a postponement with their match with Scotland coming up. So if they don't postpone it, is it a case that they can't field a team because of what's going on currently, and they give Scotland basically a 3-round pass, a pass into the next round, or do they postpone it and therefore we only play our first game now and then have to play the final later on? I don't know.
Yeah, because that's the thing. The final's like 3 or 4 days after the semi.
Here's my question, though. Sorry, I've cut you off.
No.
If they do move the postponement of that Ukraine one, we don't know when it's going to be. So I think if we won and then we had to wait, and then Scotland or Ukraine play that game and then play the other game, we're in a way sort of at a disadvantage because they're playing two games.
But I mean,
it depends how quick they play the games, or do they postpone our game? Like if they postpone one, do they have to postpone ours because we're the same path?
Yeah, I guess so. But that's the thing with all of that. It's not sort of. It is a lot bigger than football, isn't it? You know, we all know that, and I'm not suggesting anyone's thinking otherwise. That's the thing. I think before when you guys told me about that, because I hadn't heard about this news, I think it has just broken quite recently.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, maybe we'll just play it in the summer because it's a Winter World Cup because it's in Qatar, and we've given our views on that. But thought we could play it in the summer, but I always forget there's a Nations League now. It's not just sort of weekends and weekends of pointless friendlies and all this. There's actually sort of a few more competitive games in the calendar, but I'm sure they could find a week at like an international window, at least one to move a friendly.
The other issue you've got is that the summertime for a lot of European clubs is the players'
Off-season.
break time.
Yeah.
So it's the players going, I don't want to play another tournament because I've got to work.
Yeah.
I've got to continue doing, or I've got to break, then I've got to go back into it, and then I don't get much of a break. Oh, and then, by the way, I've got a World Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know.
More
I mean,
demand on them.
Mm-hmm.
We see a certain Klopp moan around that as well, don't we? About too many games. Sure, he knows all around it.
I don't know. I mean, the way I see it is whatever really happens, you're just going to sort of have to. You're going to have to sort of swallow it, aren't you? You know what I mean? Because, like you said, I mean, we all recognise that how horrible the situation is and everything like that, and football really sort of pales in comparison. I wouldn't be surprised if Russia Russia already been kicked out of it, haven't they? I wouldn't be surprised if Ukraine just don't. How could they possibly field the team? I've no idea. So I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, just got to sort of take it in you. But those games are right around the corner. The 24th of March, I think it is, isn't it? The game against Austria.
Yeah, should be a good game. I'm sure that one will more than likely go ahead either way. But like you said, we're just gonna have to deal with whatever happens. And if the Ukrainians do decide they don't want to, or for whatever reason can't field the team for that, then couldn't really argue with them, could you? Considering what's going on. But yeah, he's getting to crunch time now. Less than a month away to the playoffs. Nearly a World Cup. Only potentially 2 teams standing in our way. I think. Well, I've got in my notes it was last week, but these were notes from about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, actually. We did learn that Kieffer Moore is is going to be missing from the international window. Typically in his Bournemouth debut, after all that hullabaloo with him leaving Cardiff, came off the bench and he's out for 2 months with a broken foot, I think.
I didn't actually see
Birmingham City. So.
I didn't actually see the event. Like, how did he break his foot? I'm not even quite sure.
Playing football.
I didn't see it either.
I don't know.
It's a good shout. But I think I don't believe he'd actually played since, or only played a few games after injuring himself against Bournemouth, who he later went on to join. So maybe it's a bit of a curse for the one striker we actually have available. But with that slight negative, because he has been absolutely crucial for us since he's been placed into the side. Sort of what's the word I was going to say? Not crucial. He's been a bit of a revelation since coming in. What's it like playing international football with a target, man? 8 goals and 24 caps. That's not too bad for a championship striker that was playing for Truro a couple of years ago. The referees do seem to have it out for him, but he certainly makes us a better side, I think. But, that's at least one person that's not going to be making the squad. So that's another spot available. For argument's sake, let's say he would be in the starting 11 because, we ultimately don't know how we're going to set up against Austria, but there's a good chance he'd be starting. On current form or at the minute, who takes his place for you?
It's difficult to say, isn't it? Because as a striker, like who plays as a striker for us if it's not...
The only one I could think of is Bale.
Yeah.
Bale goes there and you throw someone out on the wing.
Yeah.
We've said this a million times, isn't it? We all wish, I think, that Bale sort of evolved a little bit as he was getting on, as he was having injury problems and everything. He should have done what Cristiano Ronaldo did and tried to go into the centre. You know what I mean? Like evolve his playing. He's still doing the exact same role that he was doing like 5-6 years ago, isn't it? So
the only thing is, when we play, we want our best players playing in their position that makes them what they are. And when you play Bale as striker, we don't necessarily get the best. And yes, we can talk around transforming him into a central player. We know he can do it. We've seen it. Can he do 90 minutes there? That's a bigger question.
But I would argue that 90 minutes
I would just rather see him on the wing because or just roaming like he does.
Yeah, well, that's
right. Pick up the ball and go with it. In terms of who you replace him, I mean, Tyler Roberts will probably find his way into the team. I think he'll probably be the starting striker off the top of my head.
Oh, he's been so rubbish, though, Lewis. He's been so rubbish for Leeds and everything.
Dan James has been getting more times as striker for Leeds.
The question we're asking is, what we're trying to figure out is who do you replace him with?
Well, listen,
he's an option.
for me, Martin's just hit the nail on the head there. For me, it's Dan James to go up top. I mean, I'm the first person to say his end product isn't really all that and everything. And he's obviously want to exploit his pace, but that's where he's been playing for Leeds. He's been Leeds' best player for the past month, and they've had a torrid time of it and everything. But he's been a bit of a shining star in the middle of the storm for them, hasn't he? You know, he's been playing really well. Probably should have picked up a penalty against Liverpool, chasing down, took the keeper and everything, you know. So for me, it's Dan James that goes in that central role, and that opens up a role on the left for someone like Tom Lawrence or Brennan Johnson to come in, you know.
If you look at the way Leeds play as well, like they play quite high. Well, I don't know. They're going to play under. Is it Jesse Marsh, the guy? Bielsa's gone, boys.
I know, yeah. Sad,
so sad, so sad. Because I still follow a few people from Leeds on Twitter, and that seeing all the photos and that being shared of him saying goodbye to everyone around. I don't know which bit of Leeds he lived in, but you know, quite popular in the community.
He's in Wetherby, I think, wasn't he?
Amongst Leeds fans, yeah.
He lived in a terrace house in Wetherby.
Great to see him come into the Premier League and tear it up the way he did. But yeah, you know, like you've just said, I think Dan James might be our best option playing down the middle. You know, Tyler Roberts sometimes comes off the bench for Leeds. I don't think they really use him as a striker. So yeah, they're not really a fan of him. Like we said, see, it works hard, but his end product isn't there, and it never really has been.
Do we know who Austria's centre backs are?
No.
Alaba will most likely be in midfield. No. I'm trying to think. I feel like one of them plays in Bundesliga for Hoffenheim. Can't think of his name.
They got a Sabitzer who plays at Bayern Munich.
I
think he was their top scorer.
There's some players in that team that are good.
David Alaba, of course. Saying that last time he came to the Cardiff City Stadium, I didn't sort of see David Edwards give him a yard and didn't really get up too much. So I'll never stop talking about that day.
The thing with David Alaba as well is he's getting on a bit, isn't he? I mean, I haven't seen their most recent team. Probably should have had a look before he came in here. But,
has he been playing more as centre back for Real?
I think so. Yeah, and Real definitely doesn't play in midfield. That's for sure.
It's a shame Kieffer Moore's not playing because I don't think he's the tallest centre back. Because he is, you know, originally a fullback by trade.
About my height,
5'10", 5'11".
David Alaba. I think he's like my height.
Yeah, he's not tall.
About 5'11".
Short Austin.
Yeah.
But no, I still think we're in with a chance with Moore missing. Like we said before, there's options, there's players in form. I had a look at Brennan Johnson's
stats
before we
came
came
with Ramsey?
Injured.
He's played a couple of... Oh, is he injured again?
Yeah, Nichols.
I was going to say, I felt he wasn't around. I was going to say, when you've got Bale and Ramsey playing, you've always got a chance. If you've got Bale playing, you've got a match winner.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. I mean, Harry Wilson, he might take Ramsey's spot there if he's not playing. Obviously, we'd like Ramsey over Wilson. No disrespect to him. I think he's great for us. But Wilson, I'd happily have.
Yeah, well, with Moore dropping out, Wilson could easily slot in. I think he's up to 12 assists this season for Fulham. Nearly got 10 goals as well.
He's one that benefits more from dropping.
Yeah,
he's better from just dropping a little bit, not being the focal point as such. He's not a striker. He's more of that, like we said, he gets the assist. He's the playmaker. He's the one that plays the final pass.
Well, and there's a false nine before, though. I think, was it the first Belgium game of the qualifying group where we dropped him in there and he scored early on, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, he scored that worldie, didn't he?
Welsh total football.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird one, isn't it? Harry Wilson, though, obviously is absolutely destroying the Championship for like the third season he's been in there. You know what I mean? Whenever he plays in the Championship, he's unreal. He's had one season in the Premier League and he got written off, you know. But Harry Wilson, he has to start for me, no doubt. Like the way he's playing in Fulham, you know, Nico Williams playing alongside him as well. Him and Nico Williams been linking up very well, apparently. You know, he was literally in the press the other day, Harry Wilson saying how Nico Williams has settled in amazingly and that, you know, he's building up a really good understanding with him. He says because he plays on sort of the right side as like a pivoted midfield and Nico Williams is right back. They're close a lot of the time because you know the way Nico is as well. His whole job is going straight up the pitch as soon as he can. He's saying how, you know, that he spends so much time where he always looks over his shoulder. He can see Nico clear, and they're really building up an understanding. So that's something I'm really looking forward to seeing. I really hope that we get the chance to see that in at least one of these games, you know.
Here's two fringe players that probably won't make the squad, but I'll just throw them out there to you, and you can give me a quick yes or no answer. So, yeah, Sam Vokes, who scored that fantastic goal against Belgium.
Oh, actually, no, sorry.
2016.
No, actually,
yes for me.
Maybe say yes because we haven't got a striker. So yes.
Do you want to hear how he's done this season?
Well, it's not bad, is it? Yeah, go on.
Yeah. No, he's played 28 times for Wickham. They're currently in League One. Got relegated from the Championship last season, didn't they? Scored 8 goals so far, and I think he set another 2 up. The weekend I wrote these notes, he did grab a brace at the
he's the
replacement
for
the game
Moore.
Was 5-5, I think.
Really,
well. I can't remember who they played, but yeah, you'd say he's the copy and paste sort of version of Kieffer Moore, just 6 or 7 years older.
Version. He's the version you buy off Wish.
Bit less of a hairline.
Oh, that's harsh. That's a bit harsh. He's good, man. Sam Vokes, I don't know what I really don't understand whatever happened to Sam Vokes. Like Ryan Giggs just decided he didn't fancy him. No? Never really replaced him until we got Kieffer Moore in. Yeah, but his way was shite, wasn't it?
Yeah, don't really think he got the send-off he deserved, considering, he was a good servant over the years, scored a fair few goals. Don't have it written down, can pluck a figure out the top of my head. But the other one, who we always used to bang on about, and the scene's quieted down a bit, but do you remember a little lad called Luke Jeffcott playing in League One? Yeah. He's also played 28 times for Plymouth this season in League One. He scored 8 goals too. He might be up to 9 now, actually, because I think he scored again a weekend or 2 ago, and he's got like 4 or 5 assists too. So I don't know if he's still sort of playing a lot for the under 23s, but he's been scoring consistently at a good level. We don't have many other strikers sort of scoring that many goals a season at a higher level per se. So
for me, I'd rather Vokesy, in all honesty, because he's been there, he's done that. Bit of a cult here.
That's what I think.
Jeffcott is still,
one of the other. I'd probably pick Vokes because I know more about him, but I also think at games, if like I said, if you win and then go and play Scotland, that's a game you need experienced players. Yeah, that is going to be one of the most pressured games they're going to face.
Definitely, this is not a game for debuts, really, is it?
No,
I wouldn't say so.
So I agree with you there, Lewis. Man, I mean, it's a shame as well, Jeffcott. Like you said, Martin, that it's sort of all gone a bit cold on the Jeffcott front, isn't it? He hasn't had the season he had last season. He doesn't look as fit as well, I would say, when you see him playing. He seems to have lost a bit of dynamism, maybe. But I mean, there's still no doubt there's a great player in there, and it's not a terrible season he's had. It's just it doesn't really compare to the one he had before.
Here's a question: Paul Mullin or Jake?
Or Jake who?
Who's got more chance?
Or who?
Is Jake?
Oh, not Jake.
Jeffcott.
Sorry,
Jake. Jeffcott doesn't have a chance, mate.
I thought you meant Jake Hyde. We have to bloody get him fixed first.
I don't mean English. He's not.
Paul Mullin, lad. Definitely Paul Mullin.
You're right.
That's the thing.
He scored more goals than
there's a guy in the National League who we all probably think. Well, we all know he could play League One and above. So
easy. If you ask me Gareth Bale or Paul Mullin, you'd have to give me a minute to think about it.
Right, that's a bit too much, Sam. That's a bit too much.
Oh, you say playing through the middle.
Maybe put that beer down for now, okay? I think it's getting to your head a little bit.
Well, one's playing and one's scoring, so gift horse in the mouth. And I don't know if you saw the Wrexham mugs they've recently put on the club shop. This will probably be a good point to transition into talking about Wrexham as well. But on Paul Mullin's mug that they now sell in the club shop, he's put a Welsh flag on because I think they asked him what nationality they want put in, and he's eligible. We found that out a few months ago. So, don't know, maybe he's planting a seed for Rob Page, but yeah, if we want to talk about Wrexham now for a little bit, they've been in a tidy little run of form since
5 games,
probably the start of February. Yeah. 5 league games on the bounce.
No, 5 league game wins on the FA Trophy against Bournemouth. That's when it started.
Oh, was it?
Maybe league games. No, so we lost. No, we lost to Torquay.
Yeah. Oh, so it's 5 games on the bounce, 4 league.
Yeah, so 5 games on the bounce.
Okay.
We just won Kings in Town, Aldershot.
Aldershot 4-1, yeah.
In the FA Trophy.
Chesterfield as well.
Yep, Chesterfield. We've got a few games we've won there. We also have Bournemouth next Tuesday.
Yes, because they're
Yeah,
playing.
we
They're
won a
playing
3-0
Everton
in the
tonight in the
trophy.
Cup, aren't they?
But obviously, to be fair, that came at a good point for us because they'd not long found out they were playing Everton.
Yeah.
So everyone's mind's gone, boom, let's go on to Everton. And they totally forgot that they needed to perform in everything else. They did play Everton. They have, FA Cup games have been played, haven't they?
Playing tonight.
Oh, playing tonight,
off, actually, yeah. But we play them Tuesday
if they're playing
night,
tonight,
so hopefully they're tired.
and they have to play Saturday, have to play Tuesday. If they go, ideally, that game would go into extra time, just to get them off that little bit more,
and just to piss off the Ev.
Like Bournemouth are going to be tired. I think they're going to put 100% in tonight and show what they can do. Obviously, Everton will probably win. That's my opinion, but they're not going to go down without a fight. And I think they're going to use so much energy that they'll probably lose on Saturday, and they might just start being on a little downfall with them being so tired. They're going to need to make sure they rest up, but yeah, they need to be ensuring they're not giving. Well, if they're giving everything, they've got to win.
Yeah. Well, listen, there'll be those who say that, there'll be like Man City and Liverpool fans and everything. Listen to this. Who'll go 5 games in a row. It's not something to shout about. In the National League, that is pretty special, to be honest. 5 wins in a row. I mean, how many times has this happened in the past few years? I can't think.
I saw some on Twitter. It's the first time since 2019 we've won 4 on the bounce in the league. So.
Well, there you go. And then 5 on top.
This league is all about getting form. As soon as you get a bit of form, you can go from being 18th to 8th. You can just jump 10 places because it's so tight. And if you keep that form going on, you just go up and up and up. I think I saw a post. Was it Macclesfield? Where 1 year, was it them that got promoted? Oh, they did.
They got promoted 1 year, yeah.
I think it might have been that year. They were getting battered. Not battered, but they weren't doing great. They get on a great run of form towards the end of the season and win the thing. They were nowhere near it by Christmas, but that form, off you go.
Yeah, no, it's completely true, and it's exactly the right time now as well. Because if you rewind 2-3 months ago, like just before, just around Christmas time and everything, I mean, people were bricking it. It didn't look good. We were outside of the playoff places and everything. We're now literally in 3rd place. Now that we've got the same amount of games played as us on the top as well, 6 points off the top. 6 points
behind us a few games.
Is it Bournemouth?
Yeah, they've got a few games in hand.
Oh God, yeah.
Games behind.
They'll have tired players as well because they'll have to congest those games into a short span. And we've got quite a favourable run of games as well. I think there's 13 something left in the league, and like 8 of them are at home. So.
Well, they are. I mean, Chesterfield that are above us as well. They're only 3 points above us, and we've got a game in hand on them as well. So we'll be equal on points there. So, if we carry on the way we're going, there's no reason we couldn't win the league. There's no reason we can't. If we keep it up and everything, we've got players fit. Paul Mullin is finally back after that bloody massive ban. The new lad seems to be playing quite well. That Scottish lad seems to have broken his way into the team. Fazdean or something he's called.
Fazdean, got quite a few assists off the left hand side.
He's on fire as well. He's coming up.
Ollie Palmer has been a revelation, isn't he? Could he qualify for Wales? Because that'd be sick.
Probably. I don't.
Let's get to
he's from England, so I don't know if he has some tenuous relationship he can cling on to. But
that
Palmer,
lad,
Davis, and Mullin as a trio the last couple of games have been fantastic by all accounts. Like they've got 26 goals between them. I think Palmer's played 7 times and he's already scored 4. So he's shown his class.
He scored a brace against Chesterfield, didn't he? Not Chesterfield. Was it Chesterfield?
Have you seen the goals?
Yeah, I think it was Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Have you seen the goals against Kings Lynn?
I saw Mullin's goal. He just
Kings Lynn this week.
Mullin's goals. Mullin's goal's a lucky deflection off the keeper. It's great ball.
Well, lucky.
The touch is beautiful, but
I think he hits it so hard.
Saves it.
Yeah, but he's hit it so hard. It's such like venom. I don't think it's going anywhere.
The wrong way, hasn't he? It's just hit him a spot to go in. Thankfully, it has. But the first goal's a good one as well by Davis. He takes it. He sorts his feet out really well. Obviously, the keeper I thought took a while to go down.
Yeah,
it's
Davis is just such a good technical player, especially at this level.
I feel like one of the reasons that
we battered him.
Yeah, I feel like one of the reasons that we're really coming into form now and everything as well. I don't think it's any coincidence that Jordan Davis is also coming into like really good form at the moment. You know, he's just keeping his ticking like a clock. You know, he's really, really good. You know, you've seen Luke Young's fortunes this half of the season have changed around completely now that he's not sort of having to play in such a deep role and everything like this. He seems to have just like, I don't know, everyone's off his back. He's playing like a player who's enjoying his football, you know. So all looking good.
Yeah, Max Cloweth as well, coming into the back three, you know, for a young lad to sort of step into quite an experienced defence that's, you know, played all right, but we've sort of looked to struggle, or we have struggled with that Harry Lennon, and he's been nursing his injuries all season. God knows what's happened to Sean Brisley as well, you know.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, Cloweth's deputised quite well. He's got a goal or two as well, I think just the one, actually, but... Yeah, he's another. What's the other chap? James Jones as well. He's had a few better games recently, from what we've heard. McFadden, like you said, proving all. I think it was the Sunderland fans that were moaning about him when we picked him up. I think Parkinson signed him there as well. But you know, he's come down a few levels. I think he's playing sort of not occasionally now, but sort of here and there just to build his match fitness up, because I think he was carrying a slight niggle when we signed him, but. Players coming into form at the right time, like we said. Luke Young's been fantastic this half of the season. I can't remember what game. I think it was the Aldershot game. He was sort of in the pocket, quarterbacking it about, sort of doing his job like he does consistently for us most seasons. But like you've both said, it's all about putting a run together in the National League. We're really putting one together at the minute. Chesterfield are going to be struggling with Tishimenga. I can't say the striker's name. He's broken his leg a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, that's going to be tough for them. There was rumours we were looking at him in January. It was probably a good job we didn't, though.
That would have been quality shit. I don't know.
Do you think Stockport are over the hill and far away now, or just? I mean, there's still probably about.
They've gone a bit quiet, haven't they?
Yeah, there's still a bit of time left to catch them up. And sorry, mate.
I was just saying, it just depends on form.
Yeah.
So, like, if Stockport are just winning, drawing, losing, you know, hit and miss, not having much form, then yes. If they do what we've done, then we've got a big task ahead of ourselves. So's everyone else in the league. So, I think it just depends how Stockport play. Obviously, they're going to be probably win-win. Different sort of thing.
Stockport. I mean, nearly every game, well, they were winning like 5-0, 3-0 and everything. Then this lad's gone and broken his leg, and now they're just sort of scraping 1-0s, it looks like, you know. The last time they dropped points was in February. They drew against Chesterfield. But then after that, you're looking pretty far back the last time they dropped points, all the way, you know, into like November, I think. No, December. Torquay beat them in December. So, I mean... They're not doing badly, are they? I mean, Christ, but neither are we. So, and you know,
they're doing brilliant. Stockport are doing really well.
So, it all remains to be seen. Big part of the season coming up, and I'm really excited to see us sort of grab the bull by the horns and go at it. And like you say, with it being at home, having turned a little bit round the fortunes of playing at home, where we haven't been scoring highly, you know, the past couple of games, we've knocked, I think, 6 in the past 2 home games, 4-1 at Altrincham, 2-0 at Kings Lynn. So like we said, just, you know, enjoy the ride and hope it goes all the way, you know. And if it doesn't, then I think playoffs, we're pretty much, touch wood, you know, unless we have a complete car crash, then we're pretty much a shoo-in at least to be in the picture, you know.
Yeah, definitely. We've the other thing for me that stood out before we move on. We've kept, I think, 3 clean sheets in 5 games, but he conceded 2 goals in that run. So there was time at home earlier in this. Well, not so much earlier in the season. We were sort of scoring early at home and managing to hang on, like the game you came to, me and Jack. But it was, Yeah. A couple of the other games though, we conceded early in the Chesterfield game. We were never really in it, and we sort of got lucky from a long throw, and Mullen headed it in. The Torquay game, we were ahead for quite a while, and then just conceded late. Same with the Maidenhead game, you just saw it coming for so long, and really brave performance with 10 men, but even still, we seem to have ironed that out now. We're keeping clean sheets. I've just said about the defence seem to have solidified a bit, and I think Tom Connor's meant to have had a few good. Tom O'Connor, sorry, not Tom Connor. He's meant to have had a few few better games after a slower start. So yeah, everything looks to be sort of righting up at the back, and that's allowing the sort of players like Mullen, Palmer, Davis to be breaking forward and scoring so many goals. So I think there's a lot to be hopeful about. As long as we can finish in the top three, we've got an inside chance. It's always awkward. I don't know what you refer to, those positions where you get a bye week in the playoff, like second and third, but finish outside there and you've got the extra.
It's
you only have to play one leg.
You draw for that.
You have to play an extra two. Is it one game?
I think so.
One leg.
Yeah. But it's an extra 90 minutes and maybe extra time in your system. So avoid it if you can. And if we finish second, we'll get an easier seed in the playoff. We'll get a lower team. Or a team that finish lower in the table. So.
Yeah.
I'll remind you, lads. I'll remind you at Christmas that you guys said Parky out, no?
Yeah, no, I did.
Yeah.
I've changed my mind about that, of course, with the uptick in form.
Good enough job.
Being a fickle football fan, but he wasn't.
I said Parky.
He's turned it around. He spent a lot of money. Let's see if he can get us up.
I think he's doing a great job at this point. You think about the league, you think about some of the stuff that we've gone up against and everything, the reputation, the officiating and everything. And I think he's really got his hands on it at this point now. And he knows what he's doing. He looks like we've got, a pretty formidable style of play where, it's not even just like it was, like you said before, at home, like hanging on to 1-0s or conceding, sort of just, scraping a draw or whatever. I think I see him, I see the games now and everything. I'm thinking, the boy knows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Seems a bit more like a back three with really, really attacking wing backs. I haven't been since the Maidenhead game because I've been a bit skint, to be honest with you all. So, but yeah, from what I've heard on the radio commentary and seen from the highlights, when we're pressing forward, it does seem like we're playing with a bit more attacking intent. And when you've got those forward players, why would you not do that? And we've got really solid lads at the back as well. Trust him. Let the wing backs bomb forward. They're quick enough to get back. We've seen Hall Johnson and Hosanna, and I don't think I've actually seen Callum McFadden personally, but we've seen the wing backs generally sort of doing quite well, getting back and making covering tackles and tracking players. So yeah, onward and upwards for Wrexham. We are in with a shout at going second because game in hand over Chesterfield, and then Stockport could still drop points until the end of the season. Still a fairish way to go.
We have to play him.
I'm not sure,
I'm not sure either.
We've played him away.
I want to say no.
Yet. I'm going to have a look. You just carry on.
I don't know. Have a look.
Yeah, so should we check the Boreham Wood score, see if they're being run ragged yet while Sam's bringing it second? Okay, so it's 0-0 after 17 minutes. Little live update.
We have got to play them. You know when we play them? The second to last game of the year we play. The 7th of May, second to last game.
Is that a home fixture then?
It is,
I'm going to keep that one free. Yeah, Everton played a bit of a weakened side tonight. There's Asmir Begovic, Salomon Rondon. I forgot he even still played for a Premier League team.
I know, yeah.
Okay, well, fairly weakened. Mixture.
Enough Boreham Wood. No.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So before we move on from footy, then lads, just to pick it all off, like who's getting called up for you? I mean, by the obvious names, by your Ben Davises, your Danny Wards and everything. Because for me, the
what do you want? One player that's just different that we're not thinking.
I don't know. Whatever you think. Who needs to be called up?
Last time,
for me, Brendan Johnson has to be on that team sheet. I'd say he's starting. I mean, he's the player of the championship at the moment. He's playing out of his skin.
Brooks's update.
Say again?
What's Brooks's update? Is he fit, injured?
He's not there yet, is he? I think he's on the mend.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, no. Oh, I forgot. I knew. Yeah, he's out for ages, isn't he?
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything negative, which is
I
always
forgot
a good
about
time with these kind of long-term illnesses. But I'm
Yeah.
sure he's on the mend and
no,
getting best
Johnson
care he
for
can.
me.
Brendan Johnson. Tom
I
Lawrence
think
for me has to
Tom
be there.
Lawrence
good
has to be the
starter,
one
and
that
he's
isn't
going to be
currently in
one
the
of the
squad.
first off that bench.
Considering
And then-
Derby's form at the minute and his experience, I can't remember how many caps he's got for Wales, but it's like 20, 30 odds. So you look at some of the other players in that team who do get sort of quite regular game time, they're not that far off how much he's played. And, he's a leader at Derby County. Wayne Rooney clearly trusts him. I think he did get sent off a couple of weeks ago. He has got a moment or two in him on and off the field. But, when you've got players scoring goals that regularly in a decent league, we can't really pass that up, can we?
Of course.
Same with Brendan Johnson. He's up to at least 10 in the Championship now. So
he's banging him in for fun. I mean, and he's picking up a lot of attention. I mean, I was listening to the Football Daily a couple of weeks ago, and you had Glenn Murray there, who obviously played at Nottingham Forest. Said, look, he is on his way to being one of the best footballers in the country. So exciting stuff for him. And I don't know. I'm still not entirely sold on Ravi Matondo. I'd prefer to see Sam Vokes in there.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Matondo's done really well, but it is in, can you really say that the Belgian Premier League's a higher standard of football? That I know they've got some probably better. Well, they have got some better teams than Championship teams in that league. But I was going to say compared to Championship with Lawrence and Johnson. Probably not League One because you've got like Genk, Club Brugge. What's the other big? Anderlecht.
Gonna say Anderlecht.
You've got some
Genk,
big sides who do. Yeah. But Matondo's. He's. I don't know if he's done well for it. He looks like he's clearly got a turn of pace on him. Just never really looked like he has much end product. He had a tough time in Schalke. Tough time at Stoke. He's gone on loan to Belgium. He's struggled. I don't know if he struggled, but he was all right for the first bit of the season. He's really kicked on now since like October, November. So he's in with an outside shot, I think.
Me,
but I prefer to see Tom Lawrence.
Yeah, I'm not too bothered by him.
He's one to keep an eye on.
I'm just not bothered.
Matondo.
He's good off the bench because he's quick. That's it.
Yeah,
but I'm not bothered by him. That's me.
Hey, if he can finish better than Tyler Roberts, he's probably quicker than Tyler Roberts. So I say chuck him in there if we have a chance. But
is he smart?
Outside shot, I think. Yeah, can he do it at an international level?
It depends what job they want. If they want someone quick, then you go for him, don't you? If they want someone who can do a bit more, we'll work back. We'll do all the stuff strikers aren't really supposed to. You pick Roberts. He'll do that job. He's not going to shine, but he'll do things for the team that are helpful, which we praise him for because we always look at goals. He does things off the things that don't get any praise. Maybe because he's not great as well. But that's what his role mainly is.
I'll tell you what, he hasn't got goals, lad.
Yeah, he hasn't got the goals.
No, he hasn't got goal even. But there you go. We'll sort out our starting 11s next week. I mean, I need a bit more time to mull it over, have a look at the stats and stuff. Maybe next week we'll chuck our starting 11s out there. I imagine they'll be quite similar, but maybe just one or two people in different positions.
I need to consult the Magic 8 Ball to see if Aaron Ramsey's going to be fit or not. So
he probably will be, and then we'll probably have a bunch of bloody
He'll be one of those
shagging Rangers fans having a go at us.
Ibrox is fucking cursed.
He'll be there just for like the final, and we'll just play him until he can't play.
Yeah. Oh well.
It'd be quite funny though. I think we said this the last time we recorded, but if he uses the Scottish Premier League as a gym to stay fit for the qualifiers, and then we end up knocking Scotland out, that'd be quite nice. A story. But
imagine that.
You ready?
He's like, imagine that he's injured the whole time, comes back to play Wales Scotland injured again. Can you imagine the Scots? Christ.
I don't think he'd go back. Well, it's a good job. I don't know.
Winning goal.
Have to go back.
Winning goal.
Because the game
will last minute. That would be a heartbreaker, wouldn't it?
Oh mate, I'd kind of live for that, to be honest.
Sheer limbs. Right, Lewis, you ready to talk about a bit of rugby, matey?
Yeah, that's fine. I love this game.
I know you do. So we've got 2 Six Nations games to talk about because, played and beat Scotland a couple of weeks ago in Cardiff.
We'll start off with one of them. We'll start off with one. Wales lost to England. Move on.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, it's always frustrating to lose a game when you score 3 tries and the other team scores 1, but
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts about last Saturday, Sam? It was Saturday, wasn't it?
I thought we were really good, to be honest. In the second half, anyway, it's just a massive shame because obviously what massively let us down has been, and the same in the Ireland game as well, has been our discipline, you know? Like, it was 17-0 at halftime. It finishes, 23-19. That is tough. You know what I mean? We scored more than them in what they scored in the first half and more than what they scored in the second half, just not together. And the manner of losing as well is pretty hard to take with that bloody line out. I don't know what's happened to Welsh set pieces and everything.
Set pieces and the
so
discipline in this tournament has nearly cost us so many times. It nearly did against Scotland as well. I think in the first half especially, we've had nearly double-digit penalties in every game. And for international rugby, I know we've got a few players that are coming in from the fringes because we are missing like Alan Wynne-Jones and a few others from the forward pack, but it's not good enough. And the set pieces as well. I think we had 2 or 3 lineouts that went astray pretty spectacularly, sort of being thrown all the way over the line, and then their number 8's come around and picked it off the back or something. International rugby, stuff like that shouldn't be happened. But like you said, plenty of things to sort of be excited about from that second half performance. You know, what about Alex Cuthbert rolling back the years? He made the most meters of any player in that game. Don't know how many carries he had, but he made 176 meters in 80 minutes, which isn't bad. Came close a couple of times, had a few opportunities to finish, but he's unlucky not to, I think.
Definitely. I think Alex Cuthbert looked brilliant. He was showing good signs against Scotland as well, you know. He's obviously got a bit of a fire in his belly and everything, which is great to see. Josh Adams playing on the wing and not through the centre worked better than it did in the centre anyway. Obviously, you know, it's a shame to have missed him in the Scotland game. Maybe he could have made an even bigger difference. It could have been a bigger score line and everything if he was playing. But I thought, and we just look like we've got a bit more we look more savvy, especially with the scrum half we've got. What's his name? Thomas Williams, is it?
Thomas Williams, yeah, he's looked really good.
Thomas Williams, it's his shirt to lose now. He looked
Kieran
brilliant.
Hardy looked lively when he came on. Came on towards the end and scored, I think, didn't he? But for me as well, Tompkins and Watkin look like they're building a bit of a partnership in centre. Really, really struggled against Ireland. Looked a lot better against. They didn't play
Watkin
together.
Watkin didn't play.
Yeah,
Watkin comes in for the Scotland game. I think did he score in the Scotland game?
I think he might have, because Tompkins scored against England. It was Hardy, Adams, and Tompkins, I think.
Oh, there you go. No, he didn't, and it was in the England game. Yeah.
Ah, right. But no, he's had a bit of a slow start to international rugby since we poached him from the Sice. But I think he's I think Jonathan Davis will probably come in eventually and take the number 13, and then it's just a toss up between the two who has the 12. But eventually, when he does inevitably retire in a couple, I don't know how long he's got left playing international rugby, maybe. But you know, they look like they're doing well together. They did. I think Warren Gatlin experimented with Owen Watkin the time we went to the Autumn Internationals. Him and Hadley Parks were in at 12 and 13, and you know he looked okay, but he had a few games when he struggled. Yeah, bit of a shooter. He's gone. He played in Australia or New Zealand again now, so he'd be a wild card pick if we did have him in the squad. And
one thing I will say is that I feel like one of the things that let us down slightly in the England game is Biggar's kicking, because you look at the penalty count, and you know we haven't got worse penalty count than England. Really, it's very similar in numbers. However, just the positions that England were finding themselves in, because of this Marcus Smith lad and everything is sort of progressive kicking. They were in the right areas to every penalty awarded. They were able to take it, you know, put it on the board. Whereas for us, you know, our penalties were not really anywhere near. We just couldn't really get into their 22. When we did get into 22, we seemed to score. You know, 3 tries in a game is not bad going at all. You know, to England's 1, which came from a mistake of ours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's something to look at. Maybe our territorial kicking could maybe be a bit better. You know, and just spice it up a little bit. Just kick for territory a bit more. You know, put it out. You know what I mean? Anything to get further up, because if you're not, you know, it doesn't matter if you can't break a line. If you're in the right positions, if you're in the 22, you can force penalties, you can go for penalty kicks. You know what I mean? So there's something to look at, I think, and I think our kicking game needs to it just needs to get a bit more progressive, like I say, you know?
Yeah, we've seen Dan Bigger do that for us time and time again before, haven't we? So I do think he needs to get back to a bit more of pulling the strings from a sort of bit further back in the pocket, trying to spread the play a bit more. And, you know, he's so good at kicking into open space. And when we've got players like Liam Williams, you know, Alex Cuthbert's always been good at chasing the ball down. We've got someone as quick as Louis Rees-Zammit going after it. Josh Adams as well is good under a high ball.
He got dropped, didn't he? What do you think about that decision?
Bigger chasing his own kicks as well. You know, that was a 2015 World Cup that was working time and time again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you reckon about Louis Rees-Zammit getting dropped?
Thought it was a bit strange because he is that sort of winger, that sort of back in our squad, I feel, that can turn a half chance into a try. Just even with his pace alone. And I don't know. Maybe he does need a game or two sort of resting because, you know, he is playing a lot of rugby for a young lad. But yeah, I think with Cuthbert's performance and, you know, Adams getting a try, I don't really think he can be too disappointed being dropped. I don't think he'd have sort of how do I say it, would have sort of done better than either of those two. Maybe he'd have scored one of the sort of chances Cuthbert had, but you know, hopefully it'll put a bit of a fire in his belly. Not saying he doesn't have that anyway, but you know, it's always should make you think if you're playing regularly and you get dropped for a sort of quite an important game. I don't know. Was there a reason he was dropped? Didn't have like a niggly injury or anything like that.
No, I think he's just failed to impress, really. The Josh Adams experiment not really going to plan. I think it's the right choice to put Josh Adams on the wing, and it very nearly paid off, you know. And if he's going to be on the bench, he might as well be playing rugby, really, isn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he has failed to impress. There's no two ways around it in this tournament. He hasn't really done anything. He's not even really broken the line once. Doesn't seem to have any sort of like like electricity about him like we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe that's what it is. It's like go back to your club, find yourself some form, come back with your, in 2 weeks when the next game is, with your ideas bucked up a little bit, perhaps, you know.
Yeah, I think the Ireland game was a bit of a rough performance for a young lad to take as well. So maybe he needs to sort of find his form again. Who's he plays for? Is Gloucester? Gloucester. Yeah. You know, they always get. You know, there's always games going on around the international window. I don't know if he played that weekend when we played England, but
I haven't checked. Actually, I should have.
He'll be back in at least. I think he'll be at least on the bench for the France game. That's not this weekend. It's the weekend after, I think. So we can cover all that when we get to get to next week's episode. Did you watch Scotland game as well?
The Wales Scotland game.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah, an interesting game, that one, really, wasn't it? Because I don't think anybody saw it coming. How poorly Scotland played, in all honesty. I think it's one of them. You know, in the moment you're hyped up, you go, "God, we're going to do it," and then on reflection, looking back, I think Scotland gave it as a bit easy. In fairness, I mean, Finn Russell had an absolute bloody nightmare of a game, didn't he? I mean, getting in the bin. His kicking was all over the shop. He was kicking out on the full from a kickoff and stuff, all sorts. And, I do fear a little bit that we sort of had a bit of false hope coming out of that game because of this, this idea that, we've taken a game to Scots and everything. And in reflection, I think we got not lucky because we were given opportunities, we capitalised on them, and that's the sign of a winning team. But I would say that Scotland let themselves down quite in quite a big way in that game, really. But
yeah, I'd agree with you there.
What did you think about Big's drop kick?
I was a bit worried because there was still like I think there was just over 10 minutes left, wasn't there? So I was like, why are you not maybe trying to sort of play for a penalty or look for a line out, or look to kick out and go for the line out, or even try and sort of kick it in from the wingers to catch for a try. Was it a penalty advantage we had, or
I can't remember. No, we just
this was so long ago. Yeah, I thought it might be a bit premature. We did look like we were sort of forcing them over, and I think they had repelled us from like 5 or 10 meters for quite a few phases. But yeah, a few players impressed me quite a lot in that, even though Finn Russell and a few other Scottish lads didn't have the best performance of their career. But yeah, I think considering how well they played against England, and they really did, we probably did overestimate how we were going to do against England ourselves. But Liam Williams was really impressive for me in that game. I know we got sin-binned early in the England game, so maybe having 14 men for 10 minutes might have cost us a couple of points. I can't remember when they actually scored, but I do remember he was really good under the high ball against Scotland.
As he always is, isn't it?
I think earlier as well in the game, he forced a turnover when they were about 5 meters out. So he probably stopped a try in that as well, which, would have swung the game the other way, would have swung it in their favour. Jack Morgan as well. He had a really, really solid debut coming in on the flank, really tenacious work in the ruck. I think one of the other issues in the Ireland game was we were getting beaten quite badly in a lot of the physical collisions. And Jack Morgan was really, really solid, sort of strengthening up the forward line, really sort of good going low into the tackles. I think he was maybe a bit lucky not to get sin-binned for a sort of half dump tackle late in I think it was the Scotland game. Oh yeah, it must have been because it was his debut and he came off the bench against England. But yeah, looks to be a good one for the future. Dan Biggar, I thought he managed the game really well against Scotland, not so much against England, like you said, with his territorial kicking, but 15 of because it was an unconverted try, so 15 of the 20 points came from his boot. 4 penalties and a drop goal. Can't really complain about that. I think the decision for Finn Russell, yellow card for a deliberate knock-on, that was quite fair as well. So probably changed the game.
It's become very clear, isn't it, the game now? You know you're getting sent off. Because this happened to Courtney Laws as well, didn't it? Well, no, he didn't get sent off, did he? Which was weird. Well, the game was finishing, I suppose. But if you go in with one hand to try and catch it and you don't pull it off, then it's a deliberate knock-on, you're done. Which is it's good to have a bit more clarity with that rule and everything. But I'll tell you who's been the biggest... the lad who's impressed me the most during all this has been Tane Basham at flanker. He's been really outstanding. He's been one of the only consistent players in the tournament so far in the 3 games of 5. Obviously scored that try against Ireland, but I don't think that had very much to do with him. But he's just a really solid player. He looks like one of the only people there that's really liable to break the line, to push on. His rucking has been outstanding. We've done pretty well in the scrum, it has to be said, this Six Nations. And
it's just the line-outs that letting us down, really.
It's just the line-outs
going astray, but I think we usually have quite a high success rate when we have Ken Owens playing at number 2, but Rice has done well deputising in the scrum, and he's sort of done well with his general play. I just think his throwing might let him down a little bit.
Yeah, the problem with that though is it's people, because that's the problem with this is you have a shit line out and everything. The camera goes immediately on the hooker, like, oh, he's messing, but there's like 7 men involved in
exactly so many moving parts. If the jump is a bit late, or the other guy's up quicker than you can't get.
If he's called it and they've not twigged, then it's their fault. You know what I mean? So it's I feel bad for Ryan Elias in some ways, because he's obviously going to get the brunt and almost stick of it and everything. But we just don't know whose fault that is really in the line out. It has to, unless someone comes out and go, yeah, it's my fault. This is what I thought was going on. I was wrong. It's hard to say. So I do feel bad. I feel sorry for him because it keeps happening. I think it's happened a good 4 or 5 times now in this competition, and every time it's like camera straight to him, like head in hands moment and everything. Like, so
well, that's the same when the scrum collapses and it's just straight on the 6 front rowers. It's like, right, come on, who's going to get the blame for the penalty, even though no one actually knows who's collapsed the scrum?
Oh God, I'm so sick of it. It puts me off watching the rugby nowadays, the scrimmage,
Spend about 3 or 4 minutes resetting him, and then you wonder where the 80 minutes has gone. But I'm But probably a bit more in the England game as well. I've been quite happy to see us a bit tougher in defence since we got absolutely steamrolled by Ireland. They have been quite a physical side the last couple of years, but it's been a while since we've gone over to Dublin and sort of really just gone out with a whimper. Also with the Scotland game, they are now winless in Cardiff for about 20 years. I think their last victory was in 2002 or something. So not happy hunting for the Scots south of Hadrian's Wall usually. I think the France game, which is our next one, that's a Friday night in Paris, I believe, the 11th of March.
That's weird, isn't it?
I think they have brought the Friday night game back. I might potentially be wrong about that, but I know it's not this weekend; it's next weekend. So yeah, we'll probably cover that next week. But tough. Not looking for. It's nice to have Italy on the final weekend, though. Nice.
Finish with a bang.
Let a few younger lads in, scrape a win by 10 points or something. We'll take it. It's not been the best Six Nations, but
take what you can do.
We're missing a few key players. Probably about 6 or 7 still, because Faletau's back and he looked really good against England.
He did. He impressed.
Great to see him back in. Did he come off the bench? Because I think did Moriarty start? Or was
Moriarty started it as 6.
Oh, yeah, that was it. But no, I think, we're not going to win the wooden spoons. We can't be too disappointed. Is the World Cup? It's 2023, isn't it? So we've still got another cycle before the World Cup. We should have some more of the players fit by then, so shouldn't be too worried. Just in a bit of a transitional period, I think.
The World Cup's going to be in France, isn't it? I'm so excited for that. I'm definitely going.
Yeah, mate, I'm going to try and get down, because it's only on the doorstep, isn't it?
Get your Duolingo out, boys. Get the Duolingo out. Get your French up and polished off.
We did GCSE French early. It's a few of the school books that didn't burn at the end of year 11. So
give Miss Temple a call.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Before we wrap up, do you mind me bending your ear for a little bit about the MMA? Because I know you're a bit of a fan of Brett Johns. I remember when he made his UFC debut back in 2016. The first Welshman actually to make the walk to the UFC cage. So, he's going to go down in Welsh MMA history, that guy. And he got off to a very good start to 2022 after a tough sort of 12 to 18 months at the end of last year. Got a big TKO win at Bellator 275 last Friday night, which took place in Dublin. I think it's called the 3 Arena now, but absolutely packed out crowd. Looked like a really good atmosphere. Bellator's on BBC iPlayer, by the way, now, guys. So, Sam, if I ever tell you there's a Bellator event, just get your VPN out and get on iPlayer. It's all free. It's really good. But yeah, he beat a really decent undefeated prospect in Bellator, a fella called Khurshid Kakarov. He was 8-0 before coming up against Brett, and I think he'd finished 6 of his 8 wins by knockout. So, stopping a lad in really good, with some really good momentum behind him. Brett moved to 18-3 as a pro as well now, so he's 1-1 in Bellator. As I said, really good for him to get his first win. He's in a competitive division, moving from the UFC to Bellator, just like he was when he was at his previous promotion. And, he's come out looking quite fresh from this fight. So hopefully he hasn't got any injuries, or if he has, they're minor, and he should be able to fight another 2, maybe even 3 times this year. I thought, it was a third round TKO finish, I should say. I thought throughout the fight he pushed a really, really good pace. He looked quite light on his feet, quite crisp with his striking. I know he's been working on his Muay Thai and his boxing quite recently, as well as his jiu-jitsu that they do quite a lot of down at Shore MMA. He really, really leaned on his wrestling, though, so I think him and Jack Shaw have probably been working quite closely together. Of course, Jack's got a fight coming up in, I think it's 2 weekends' time. Him and Corey McKenna are at UFC London, so going to be blabbering your ears about that one as well. But he landed a fair few takedowns early on, and Kakarov really, really struggled with the wrestling. So Brett going back and leaning on what he's best on. You got the finish midway through the 3rd round. He wore his opponent down, dragged him into deep waters, sort of midway through the 3rd round, finished him with volume on the ground, which is always good to see. He's usually known for sort of getting a win over the decision or submitting someone, because he's really, really high-level jiu-jitsu player, got a black belt himself. Got his jiu-jitsu black belt off a guy called Chris Rees, who's trained under some really high-level Brazilians himself. Really good gym down in Swansea, Chris Rees Academy, I have to say. Brett did also say after the fight, after going and losing his Bellator debut, he did have a point to prove. So, he certainly proved any of his critics wrong with this win. Tough, undefeated opponent he was fighting, as well as I've said. Did call for a top 10 opponent for his next fight. And every year, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but one of the main things Bellator do, they do Grand Prix bracket tournaments. So they'll select... the champion is one of the fighters, and then 7 other fighters from the division, and they'll do like a quarterfinal, semi-final, and then a final, sort of like a bracket tournament. They call it the Grand Prix, and they do those annually. So Brett John said he'd be up for fighting in the Bellator Bantamweight Grand Prix, which would be fantastic. I think he'd be the first Welshman to actually fight in a Bellator Grand Prix, which would be history again. And as I've said, it's a very, very competitive division. Currently, Bellator's bantamweight class. You've got a guy called Sergio Pettis, who's the current champion. I don't know if either of you heard of Anthony Pettis, former UFC lightweight champion, inventor of the Showtime kick, the one where you sort of hop up onto the kick off the cage, spin around, and it's like a sort of jumping, spinning kick off the cage. Really cool. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Did it to a guy called Benson Henderson in, I think it was Strikeforce, if you want to watch that video, years and years ago. But his brother's the current champion. He beat Juan Archuleta for the belt, who's a really high-level wrestler, currently ranked number 1. You got Patchy Mix, who's just had a recent win over James Gallagher in at number 2. The former Pride champion, I think, was it Pride or 1FC? I think it was 1FC, actually. And former Bellator champion as well, Kiori Horiguchi, Japanese phenom's just come back. He's just coming off a loss to Sergio Pettis, but did sort of drag Pettis into deep waters earlier in the fight. James Gallagher as well, who we've just mentioned, he's in at number 7. And that could be sort of an all-UK clash, sort of Wales against Ireland, who's the toughest Celt in Bellator. But the thing that most excited me that Brett was calling for during the post-fight press conference, Bellator Cardiff. That would be a fantastic thing, because I don't think the UFC are going to come to Wales anytime soon. They tease it every now and again when Jack Shaw gets a win, but they only come to London once a year, so they don't really like coming to Europe at the moment. So you look at the atmosphere Bellator had in Dublin, sold out, I think. Crowd was completely up for it, fantastic all the way through, cheering all the fighters. Peter Keeley was meant to be in the co-main event. He was an Irishman. He had to pull out through injury. So you imagine the atmosphere would have been even better if he was there. Sinead Kavanagh and Liam McCourt just get bumped up to the co-main event. 2 Irish girls. So yeah, go for it, mate.
So you were just talking around like they don't come over to Europe much. It's because of the time zones.
Yeah, no, there's that.
Obviously, their main
the European audience for MMA is growing.
Main customers will probably be US, Canada, all those countries. That's where they make most of their money. So,
the US promoters.
That's where they focus. It's like WWE.
Yeah,
they've been teasing. Well, there's been strong rumors for a good few years now. They're going to hold a pay-per-view in Britain.
Yeah,
hasn't happened. One of them was the Millennium, and it's mainly because of this time zone, the time difference. Like I said, the main customers are in America or Canada. So coming over to Europe, yes, it's big over here, but the question is, how much do they make when they come over? Do they make more staying in America or coming over to Europe for so long?
Well, that's what thing I'd say. These cards they have in Europe, usually they're not big pay-per-view cards where they'll make a lot of money selling sort of pay-per-views to make for the fight. Like, it was a title on the line in Dublin, but as well the start time, I think the fights kicked off about 6 or 7 UK time, so it would have been late afternoon, early afternoon in the different parts of America. And then when the main event and that was started, it'd have been about tea time, 6, 7 o'clock. So you would have had some people viewing who'd have been home from work. Or,
you would have had some, but it would have been
things like that. But
harder. That's the issue, especially if like you're working or something. Like,
but that's the
it's
thing.
a lot harder.
Bellator have got a deal, and they're on the BBC in the UK now. I know they're on Spike TV and so many other channels around Europe.
Yeah.
So they've got global TV deals at the minute. So people are sort of tuning in to watch it. You've got free mixed martial arts on the BBC. You've never had that before. That's fantastic. The PFL, the Professional Fighters League, where Kayla Harrison and a few other really high level competitors are. They've just signed a deal with Channel 4, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. So that's going to be another MMA promotion coming to. This is terrestrial TV as well. It's not like the UFC on BT Sport where you need a subscription. You need to pay for your TV license, but most people do have them anyway. Or wink, wink. I'm not going to say if you're using a VPN. So, but yeah, they could bring maybe one or two more events to Europe a year with people being able to go back into stadiums. And now COVID is. I don't know whether it is evening out a bit at the minute, but things are opening back up, so people are choosing to go out. So you've got people who are willing to go. Why not? And we do have 4 chaps fighting in Bellator under the Welsh banner at the minute. There's been rumours that Josh Reed might be signing a contract with them soon, so that'd make 5. So you've got 5 people to stick on a card. I'd say that's enough sort of hometown lads to generate interest. I'm sure they can pick another 1 or 2 local fighters up to get some more of the regional fans involved. And it is just such an exciting time for UK MMA. I just love to see as many of these bigger promoters coming over and doing shows over here as well. And the UFC or Bellator coming for Cardiff, that would be the biggest ever card in Welsh MMA. So we'd be seeing history made here, boys. And I don't know if they'd sort of go to the Millennium Stadium, or I don't know if St David's Hall's big enough. Is it the Motorpoint Arena in Cardiff?
They are building like a massive new arena in Cardiff, aren't they? They're doing a new one. Yeah. The Motorpoint's on its way out. I think it's getting. I don't even know if it's getting demolished, but they're doing. I think it's in Cardiff Bay. They're building a brand new stadium.
Oh, that'd be
good.
Maybe could move. Yeah, could do a little moving in pie.
Right.
For a bit of leather. But yeah, I've bored you both to tears enough about that. So fantastic win for Brett Johns, as we said. Keep it going. Flying the flag for Wales and Bellator. And who knows? Could be in the bracket for the Bantamweight Grand Prix soon. So could have a shot at the title, which, he's been a double world champion. A world champion in 2 promotions before, Cage Warriors and Titan FC. So why not make it 3? He's a tough lad, talented fighter, could do it. Has anyone got any closing arguments or any final thoughts or any funny jokes? Or
just a quick one.
Has anyone seen
if anything, a bad thing.
Has anyone seen the ball? Has anyone found the ball from Kepa's penalty? I've seen the ball.
I think it's with Charlie Trafford and Sean Brisbane.
I know some lads found it now. Someone cool.
It's probably up on eBay somewhere you can find it.
I was just going to say as well about Nomads, just kind of breaking news.
Yeah.
Docked 18 points. They've gone from second to last, haven't they? 6 points away from safety. So that's not great for them.
Yeah. Was it a field
what's that
player who signed outside? Well, they signed and fielded a player who joined outside the transfer window.
Six games. Played 6 games.
Yeah, we spoke about that, I think, at some point, didn't we?
Well, there was a bit of... the thing I read one of the club statements. They thought they'd got the paperwork done in time to sign someone on deadline day. According to the FAW, it didn't go through, or at least they didn't receive it in time. Because I think the cut-off might be an hour earlier or a day earlier in Wales compared to England, because I know Wrexham have fallen foul of that once or twice, signing players outside the window, or not being able to sign more than one player outside the window. But because that paperwork didn't go through in time, they signed another player as a free agent outside the transfer window, but you're only allowed to sign one. So I think he played a few JD Welsh Cup games or a few Nathaniel MG Cup games, and I think he played 6 times, like you said. So 18 points, big hit for the defending champions to take. Does that, because I know they've just announced the fixtures for phase 2 when it splits to the championship and the playoff conference. Have they been knocked down to the playoff conference because of that point deduction, do you know, or are they still going to be playing like TNS and Penabont, Bala, top 6 teams?
I have no idea. It's a very good point, but there's still time, I think, for this, like 6 points away from being able to stay in the top half of it,
Yeah, I think Well, Kevin Druids look like they're sinking fast, or they've already gone.
Finally.
They're probably relieved that someone's within sort of 6 or 8 points of them. I think Haverfordwest are the next lowest side in the Cymru Prem.
Sure.
So I think, do you know how many points 18 off? I think they were on 34, so they've won 12 points now. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Quick maths. So, I think they're either 8 or 10 off Haverfordwest, so quite a bit of ground to make up. But yeah, they've been struggling.
One last thing as well, I was going to say, by the way, guys, about Kurt Zuma. No, I don't want to make light of animal abuse or anything, but have you seen the thing with him and Chris Wood?
Oh, no. Saying me out.
Apparently the Newcastle captain had to, not Newcastle, the West Ham captain had to go and complain to the ref and say, listen, this lad's saying meow to Kurt. Like, can you just imagine him, like, in his, like, his New Zealander accent, like, meow, fucking meow.
Not to make light of animal abuse, but it's a good job he didn't turn around and boot him in the shin or something.
He was playing a dangerous game.
He's got form for it. I'm surprised he's playing at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, bad man. Bad man. Footballers are
David Moyes, the animal lover, but won't drop him. So.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
That's what he said.
To squad, that's why. Oh, well.
Well, depressing note to end the podcast on. However, when you're on footballers' wages, you've probably got enough room to swing a cat in your house. But you shouldn't. You really shouldn't, because it's really bad. And this is coming from someone who's more of a dog person as well. I'm not a fan of cats, but I wouldn't even dream of striking an animal. It just takes some weird desire to want to hurt a living creature to do that.
You made the joke.
I'll strangle my mates while I'm wearing a bee, but I don't have to justify myself.
I missed that joke, but I don't want to hear it again. So
that's all right, because you can listen to the recording. Because this will.
No, we don't need to. Again. I'll watch it.
You've lived it.
I'll watch it when it comes out.
Again. You can do it while you're, I don't know, depressed running summer camp again or something. I don't know.
You can do it when you're being curious. That's the old
Lovely.
Right, yeah, go on, lads, bugger off. Go on.
Let's leave it there. Off with you, Lewis. I can tell you've spoken about football for about an hour.
Go get lost, right?
Okay, well, thank you very much to everyone who's listened.
Meow.
Broke down a bit at the end. Lewis is still saying meow. I think he's turned into a cat with the sheer boredom. He's got X on his face.
God, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Blame me. I just want to get it.
Don't get so angry.
Oh, yes, you did.
But yeah, you've been listening to Play for the Dragon podcast.
Leave it there.
We'll be back next Friday with another episode. Stop talking over my outro. It's very rude. Naughty boy.
Meow for the Dragon.
Maine's got a new track out, so I'll try and bring you that next week if I can get clearance to put it on the end of the show. I'm sure if I ask Pod, he won't mind. But I did buy the track today off Bandcamp, so yeah, head over to Bandcamp and buy their track. Head over to playforthedragon.com as well. Read our stuff, listen to our podcast, look at our faces and shit. So lovely to chat to you boys, and thank you very much for listening. Have a good evening. Take care. Ta-ra, everyone.